Hey guys, it's Dr. Matt. It's been a while, right? Yeah, I know. A lot of people ask me why I haven't been doing videos. I kind of talked a little bit about it before, but I kind of felt that my content was becoming repetitive, and I thought that, it's just the same thing. And that's not really fair, I know, because I watch a lot of channels that are the same thing over and over and over, and I always like them, and I always like the end, the outcome of it, either if it's whatever, sharpening, or this one guy I watch, he refurbishes these wood floors or whatever, just, I always like to see it at the end. Anyway, so I have something here that I thought might be a little bit interesting. I received an email from a guy that I had sharpened some stuff for before, and he told me that he had a stone that he wanted me to test, which I do for some people, and it was a coticule, and that's kind of fair because coticles can be kind of finicky, and there's some things that I do, and I'll show you in the video, to determine if I think they're potential good stones for sharpening razors, because not all coticles are going to work for that. But anyway, we'll get there. But he sent me the stone. This is the coticule. Let's see if we can, if I get a little water on it, it'll look better. You can see some grain in it. I don't know, it might be a LaGrace, although it doesn't look quite porous enough. The back is slate, so that's not, the BBW side, or the purple side. Anyway, a little bit different, more square usually. Stones are a little more rectangular, longer. And then he sent me a razor, and he wanted this sharpened. He was having an issue with this, with the heel and the toe. Said they weren't touching down on the stone. This is I believe this is a Boker. This is a Boker, one of the Bismarcks. So these are usually fairly easy to do because they don't have a heel on them. So yeah, we'll go through that. And he told me that he wanted me to put a J-nut edge on it. And I said, well, why wouldn't you want me to finish it on your stone? And he said, well, he couldn't get it to work. I said, well, if I can get it to work, we'll do that. We'll see what happens. So I don't know exactly how this is going to go. Hopefully, by the end of the video, I can have a shave with it, and we'll see. So either it's going to be, or we'll let you know. All right, so what we'll do first is we'll kind of get into the stonework. All right. I know I said that I was going to start with the stone, but to do that, I need to square up this razor, because the way I'm going to test the stone is with the razor, and I have to have the razor all set up first. So we'll start there. Now, what he told me about the razor, he said he was having an issue with the heel and the toe. What I'm going to do is, I don't know if you can see that, but what I'm checking for here is if it has a frown to it, and it doesn't. It rolls real nice on that. There's a slight smile, which is the way that it should be. So probably what he was doing is he didn't, you gotta maybe kind of roll it a little bit, lift the toe up, and then the heel as you bring it through. And I'll show that one real quick. So I'm starting on my Chosera 1K. I'm starting all the way at the bottom. I don't know where he was. I don't know if he had tape on there. I think he said at one point he put tape. He had asked me, he said he couldn't get it to come around. He said try a layer of tape. So I think this has tape on it. So I'm just gonna go with no tape. Oh, first thing, kill the edge. Now I just like saying that and doing it because people get pissed off. But if you watch my a video that I did, the last one I did, may have been a year ago or maybe a little more, but I had gone through the whole progression, and it still wasn't where it needed to be, although the edge still had some sharpness to it after like 5K. And so what happened was I wasn't all the way to the edge, meaning the bevel wasn't fully set. So there's quite a bit of metal coming off here. These are just half strokes. And I pitch it, turn it 90 degrees to obliterate all the scratch marks in one direction, and then do it in the other direction. I think it cuts faster. All right, let's see if it grabs here. Nope. So it still hasn't come through where I killed it yet. And he had put some tape on it, so we're really having to work this. There we go. Now it's grabbing here. All right, good. Let's kind of finish it off on the stone here. And then we'll move to the next one. Circles. I just wash the slurry off and just finish off. Oh yeah. All right, very nice. All right, next stone, 5. This is Shapton Pro, or what do they call it? Kukumako, or you know what I'm talking about. Same thing, Shapton Pro or the Fukumaka. I might be saying that wrong, but those are the same stones. This is the 5K, which is kind of, I don't know, what is that, kind of purplish pink. And I've had this one for well over 10 years, and what I did is I mounted it to glass for 2 reasons. Kind of like I did the 8K. I don't know if you, that's glass back there, so you can see this 8K. This is the not the Shapton, but the, what's the other one I use? Anyway, you can see how I had a glass shop just cut me a piece of glass, and I just stuck it to it with some of that epoxy, and so then I can get the stone real thin, and it won't warp. Although the Shaptons really don't do that. The Nanos do that. Those pastel colored ones, those things warp like a mother. But, you know, if you wanted to mount those to glass, I imagine that would work too. What I'm doing here is I kind of lift the, I don't know if you can see, I have that toe lifted. I kind of grind that heel a little bit, and then I lift the heel and grind the toe a little bit. And then as I pull it through, I kind of do the whole rocking heel to toe. All right. This is a Norton, thank you. The name slipped my mind. This is the Norton 8K. I used to have the whole set of Shaptons. I had a Shapton 8K, but I dropped it and it broke. So these Norton stones were the first set I bought. I think everyone buys that Norton set, but the 8K is good and the 4 will do, but mainly this 8. But the Shapton's just as good. All right, very nice. I'm looking at the bevel, and it's pretty level all the way across. So that's probably because I was lifting it. Maybe he wasn't doing that, and that's why it didn't quite hit on there. Anyway, all right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take it over to my microscope. I'm going to look at it and make sure that everything looks good, and then we'll proceed from there. Okay, so I just checked the 8K, and it looks perfect. It's beautiful. It's perfect, exactly where I want it to be. You can see here on the initial, or the before picture where we started from, that edge looks kind of banged up, kind of flattened a couple places maybe. I don't know what that is, but you can see the difference there between the 8K, what I just did, and then where it started from. All right, so now what I'm going to do, and I'll explain this. This is a nano cloth. It's kind of funny. What was it like back in 2012 when I did my very first video? I used these and was, super refining the edges and all that stuff. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try and remove all of most all of the scratches and any of that stuff that you would see that was left from the 8K, and I'll explain this as we go. But all I'm going to do is some passes. And if you're wondering where you can get this nano cloth, I don't think you can get it anymore, because Ken Schwartz is the guy I got it from, and Ken is moved on. God bless his soul. I don't know how many I'm going to do on here, maybe 20 or so. I'll take a look at it on the microscope, and I'll explain as to why and what I'm doing all this stuff for. Okay. Now what I'll do is I'm going to take another picture of the edge now, and we'll see what that looks like. Okay, so now what I've done is I took on this nano cloth, which is a 0.5 micron CBN. It's a spray I put on there. I took and I super refined this edge. I made it super smooth. And you can see here on the pick, there's really no imperfections on it. There's no really scratches, or it looks pretty darn good. And that would be that's a good shaving edge. But what we're going to do is we're going to go to the Coticule now, and I'm going to do some passes on it. Let's see if I can get this. We'll do it under the running water, and then I'll take it and I'll look at it again, and we'll see what the scratches are and what this stone actually put on there, and we'll see how it looks. And that's one of the ways I kind of judge that. So Ooh. That sounds a little bit rough. You hear that? Now, if you've watched my Coticule series, I did a whole series on it. I think it's the only series of really comprehensive set of videos. I think there's 4 of them on using Coticules to sharpen razors. So if you haven't seen them, look up in the video. I'll put a card there. You can check them out. But I'm doing this without the slurry. Let me hit it. Yeah, it feels different. The gentleman who sent it to me, he did say it felt kind of rough when he used it, but it's not like a rough, like a gritty rough. It feels rough in the sense of kind of like wood, versus like you get a Coticule of really well done, or ones that I like, they feel velvety when you run the rate. This feels like you're kind of moving over wood, but it's not gritty. The gritty kind, that feels like what did Scott describe it as? Sugar cookie dough. It was a perfect description of it. When you pull the razor over it, it just feels real gritty. All right, so let's take a look at what this looks like under the scope, and then we can really see what the stone did. What I just looked at it, and you can see the scratches on there on the edge. To me, that looks a little rough. Although not uncommon for a Coticule. I could probably refine that, and so what I want to do something different, a little bit different than what I've been doing. So I'm going to take it back to the 8 here. What I'm going to do is zero out the Coticule. I'm going to smooth it back out. And then I'm going to try something that I've been doing lately. I don't know if it'll help, but we'll see. So what I'm trying to do is erase those marks that you saw from the Coticule and get it back to the 8K. And then I'll use the nano cloth again and smooth it out. Right. Let's take it back to the nano cloth. That was about 20. All right, so now I'm going to take and go back to the microscope, make sure that I'm back to where I want to be. Okay. Now, what I'm going to try, let me move this out of the way so I don't have to, what I'll try here something I've been finishing a lot of stones with. All right, so what this is just pump soap. You know, the stuff that you just get it anywhere. But the container runs out, so you just get your own soap, and you can put any kind of soap in there you want, any kind of hand soap. And you only need to fill it up to about maybe 20% of it and put the rest water. So that soap just provides a slick surface. And so let's see what we got. I'm going very light on the contact here. What we're trying to see is the effect of just the cuticle, because I smoothed it all out, so I don't want to, we're not trying to, you know, grind anything down here. And by the way, this cuticle has a grain to it, and it runs this way, so I'm sharpening with the grain, trying to get as smooth as I can. Now he sent me a slurry stone. I'm almost tempted to try it. We'll see. We'll see how this does. Generally, on cauticles, when I'm finishing like that, 20 to 30 passes, usually enough. At one point I was talking about, you know, when it sticks, and that's, you can do it until that point, but generally if you start going too much, I notice it starts to wear the, starts to take the edge in reverse on certain cauticles. So, yeah, let me check the edge now. Okay, so I just looked at it, and you can see the picture here. Let me see if I can get these other pictures up so you can do a comparison. This actually looks decent to me. I know that the edge doesn't look real refined, but you have to understand this is a natural stone and it's a coticle, which can be that's actually a decent looking edge at this level of magnification for a coticle. So what I'm going to do now is I will strop it. I'm going to put it on my fire hose and the leather, then I'll put it up, and then we'll take a look at it again. And if it look under the microscope, and if it looks decent, I'll shave with it. So then we'll see there. So yeah. All right. Let me see if I can set this up when we strop. If not, I'll just be back here. All right. Let's hit my fire hose here. All right, that was 50 on there. Let's see here. No, let me try it here. Okay, this is going to be leather. I'm going to do the same here, same number anyway. Alrighty. All right, so I checked it under the microscope. Yeah, we'll put the picture up right here. This is what a conical edge looks like fully stropped. It's not super pretty, but that looks like a decent edge. And I'm testing it here. I mean, it definitely easily does that. It's going to be a matter of how it feels. I'll see how it feels. You know, cuticle edges are not real sharp feeling. They generally have a little more feel comfort, as they say. Not always. My concern about a cuticle, and the gentleman who sent this to me, is that he is of Middle Eastern descent, and I know that Middle Eastern usually have a pretty heavy, thick beard. So usually, for people that, you know, people that send me razors, sometimes I'll ask them their nation of origin. You know, I'll ask them where they're from, and they probably think that's a weird question, but that's why I ask, because I mean, if you have real light skin, usually the whiskers are going to be much lighter. Cuticles are real good, but for people that have real heavy beards, usually J-Nats I recommend. This he asked me to originally put a J-Nat with the Arkansas finish on it. I have done one of those before for him, and he liked it a lot. But we'll see. I'll shave with it. So see it sink. All right. So yeah, we're gonna give this poker a go with the cuticle edge on it. Just so you know, whenever I do any kind of shaving videos, I'm always coming right out of the shower. I'm spraying a little water on my face. I have softened water in here. The place I'm at has real hard water, so I got some soft water. But yeah, no, I do that because prep on your whiskers is hugely important. It can really make a huge difference. And sometimes if you get a little lazy with it, you think it's your razor that's not doing its job. And the reason I even mention this is because I was watching a Geo video. He was shaving, and you know, he splashes a little water on his face, and he goes to shaving. And I commented, I said, you know, that I hope that you do more than just the water. And chances are he does. He may be coming out of the shower too. He just doesn't say anything. So that's why I mentioned it. So let's lather this up, and we'll take a few drags with that razor, and I'll be able to tell right away. And also what I wanted to say is I always strop the razor immediately before I'd shave. Even sometimes, you know, you strop it and then you get in the shower and you do this, you do that, and then you start to shave. I still give it a few extra passes on the leather, even in that few minutes, you know. To me, makes a difference. All right, let's give her a test here. Can you hear that? I realize it's a hollow ground. It makes a little more noise, but the cuticle edges seem to make more noise. I don't know what that is. But so far, as far as the edge, I'm not blown away with it. It's doing the job. It actually seems a little better as I get moving on it. a little nick there? Not that one. That was a bump that was already there, right there. All right, let's go across, see how that feels. I'm gonna give it a few passes on the strop, just because I am. Just because after I come off the stone, you do a pass or two. It seems after you strop it, then it kind of really picks it up quite a bit. All right. Ooh. That may have been a nick there. All right. I mean, the razor did the job. I mean, it felt sharper and smoother than certainly a lot of factory stuff. But then again, I don't know if that's saying so much. But I'm going to have to say that I'm not going to send the razor back to the guy with that edge on it. He originally requested a J-Nat edge with with the Arkansas finish on it, which I'm going to do. That's a better edge. I'm sure he's got a pretty dense beard. So yeah, if I had to rate the edge as it is, I'd give it a 7.9. I think you need to be at least an 8. Damn, that one doesn't want to stop, huh? You have to be at least an 8 to, I think, to be decent, considered a stone that I'd want to run my razor on and shave with. I mean, it'll work, but I just didn't think it was great. I mean, the Coticles I have, I think I had 3 of them. I mean, I've gone through probably at least a couple of dozen to get those. So, you know, and those stones are all in the 9s. If, you know, if I had to rate those, they're 9.5s, you know. But that's what I do when I test them. So I would have to say that this one would be a no-go. I wouldn't recommend that he use that one. So that's what it is. That's how I test them. So it was great to be back, guys. Good to see you. I hope you appreciate that. I hope you enjoyed it. You have a great day. Good night. And we'll see you again real soon.